Hi everyone, and welcome to Business Spotlight today, where I'm chuffed to be joined by Lee Walls, who's the founder of Firewalk Scotland. Lee, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me along, Yvonne.
Good. So let's start off by figuring out exactly what Firewalk Scotland is. I can't say it obviously, but Firewalk Scotland, what is it you do?
I am a firewalk instructor, so I teach people to walk on fire, broken glass, and I do high impact workshops such as breaking arrows on your neck and breaking boards with your hands. The majority of that is bigger events, and it tends to be a lot of charity fundraisers. It's an amazing tool for raising money, but some of that is also corporates and organisations who are doing a team building event, but they're also raising funds for charities at the same time, so it's a win for everybody.
Sounds worthwhile. So, but I can't imagine Lee just sitting on my sofa one day and thinking, do you know what? I think I want to be a firewalk instructor. Where on earth does that come from?
Okay, so I'm a recovering alcoholic, and when I got sober, when I got to 6 months of being sober, I realised that my own confidence had come from the bottom of a bottle, and that in order to change my life, I needed to do something huge and scary. So I decided to do the scariest thing that I could think of, and I went. I agreed with myself that if I could be sober for a year, I would go backpacking around South America. So I booked a flight to Peru and off I went for 6 months. And then a few years later, I had the opportunity to do a firewalk. I'd been thinking about it for quite a long time. And my background's community work, so I'd always been doing community development and confidence building and personal development. And I did a firewalk and I felt like I had found the key to life. And it's that thing that the fire's just a vehicle. It's not, the fire's just there. It's a metaphor for life. And it's that thing that if you can find your own confidence and your own courage and stand barefoot in front of a fire and walk on it, you can do absolutely anything that you choose to put your mind to. So when I discovered firewalking, I'm like, this is it, this is the thing. And within a week of doing my own firewalk, I had booked to go to the States to train to be an instructor.
Wow, it feels like it's been a real pivotal moment for you then, and I didn't know any of your background, so thanks for sharing that. But it sounds like you've been on quite a time of thinking. I'm trying not to say journey, but certainly gone through a lot of steps and a lot of thinking about yourself and what you need to do for you.
Yeah, that was 21 years ago, so it's a really long time ago. But it was just that I think we all have moments in our life where we think, right, I need to do something and I need to do something drastic. And for me, when I was much younger, it was about getting sober. But I went off to Peru, I went backpacking around a continent and had just this amazing experience. And in terms of what I do now, it's similar. I can't take hundreds of people off backpacking around South America, but I can take hundreds of people across a fire, and it's the same thing. It's just about that, having that moment where you're facing your fears and you're just doing it anyway.
And so what was the interest with Peru? What sparked that?
I wanted to go to the Machu Picchu. I also wanted to go somewhere that I would be really uncomfortable, if I'm being honest about it. I wanted to go somewhere where I wouldn't bump into anyone from Dunfermline, that I couldn't speak the language, that I would have to navigate my way around myself. I wanted it to be a really big adventure, and I wanted to just really, really get outside my comfort zone, and I wanted to go to the Amazon jungle.
Wow.
At primary school, I'd always I had wanted to stand with my foot on either side of the equator, go to Ecuador, stand with a foot on either side of the equator. So there was quite a lot of things that drew me to that particular area in the world, and I was there last year again. It was amazing.
Is it good? You recommend it?
Yeah, I couldn't recommend it more. It's just an amazing part of the world.
You sound like a very driven person, both from the personal stuff you've gone through and, setting up your own business and doing something like firewalking. You mentioned there stepping outside your comfort zone. Where did that drive come from? Why do you think that was important to you?
I think for me, it was about when I was drinking, I think your world, the more fear that you have in your life, the smaller your world becomes. And for me, it become really quite small. I would get up in the morning, I would go to work, I would come home, I would drink too much, and pretty much that was me on repeat. And I had got to a point in my life where I was fairly isolated. I wasn't really spending time with my friends. I didn't want people to see the mess that I was in, if I'm being honest. And then I had this moment where I was like, I need my world to be big. I want to have a huge big life, and I've never been particularly driven by having a fancy car or having fancy clothes or any of that kind of thing, but I just wanted to have a really big life.
Mm. And how's that panned out for you then? Are you having the big life that you dreamt of now, or are you moving towards where you want to be?
Yeah, I think life, no matter what, life's up and down, and it's a roller coaster. And you have, I've got an 18-year-old daughter, so there's things that, well, you can do, but realistically, it probably wouldn't have been fair if I'd dragged my kid out of school and said, like, we're going to go backpacking, So last year was the first time since she was really small that I've gone off anywhere on my own. And I went back to Ecuador and went to the Galapagos last year. So I think I aim to have my life as exciting as possible, but like we also have real responsibilities and bills to pay, and
Mm. And what is it about the solo traveling that you like then? What interests you about that?
yeah, I think when I went away last year, it was about it was probably a response to COVID and having a couple of years in the house. And I can remember at the very start of COVID saying to my daughter Erica, maybe when this is finished, we can go away in the camper van. And she was like, maybe not.
Cool.
I've had enough of you. Exactly. And my husband was going to Australia. He's got a daughter over there, and I don't want to go to Australia until I can go for 6 weeks. So I just wanted to have a bit of time on my own and probably just find myself again. I know that sounds a bit naff, but it was just about having a bit of time away from my family, just being me, not being anybody's wife, not being anybody's mum, having a couple of weeks with no responsibilities. So I think it's good for the soul.
Oh, I think a lot of people will resonate with that. Good on you. Good on you. So how long have you been in business then, Lee?
I started in 2006. I did my training at the beginning of December 2006 and delivered my first firewalk on the 31st of December that year. And that was a very deliberate choice that I could say I was established in 2006.
Yeah. And how many do you think you've done over the years?
Thousands. I've certainly worked with thousands of individuals. We've delivered firewalks from Kent to, we were in the Shetland Isles in October. So we've covered the span of the UK. And I've also delivered like lots and lots of confidence building courses for third sector organisations and done glass walks and arrow breaks and confidence building with them.
And so let's talk about this talking in a minute. The arrow breaks, what are those for people who don't know? Because I think most people will know what a firewalk is.
Yeah.
What about the arrow breaks? That's maybe less familiar.
Yeah, so the arrow break is when you get a wooden archery arrow and you put it on your neck. You put the tip of the arrow onto your neck here, and you lunge into it and you snap it, and it's terrifying for most people. And it's a really good, it's exploring fear, it's exploring self-doubt, and the whole workshop is more about you than the actual arrow break and about your mindset and stuff. But the arrow break it's very portable. Like obviously a firewalk takes a huge amount of planning and organisation, and they're better done in the winter when it's darker months, and they have to be done outside, and you have to have an outside area and an indoor area, whereas an arrow break, I could pop round to your house just now for a coffee and we could do an arrow break in your living room.
As you do, Lee. So do they run independently, or do they run together? How does it work?
Yeah, I can do them. Generally for a firewalk, I always do an arrow break as preparation.
Right.
And that's mainly because it's more scary for people than the actual firewalk. So people have done an arrow break and then the firewalk's a breeze.
Right, I
So
see.
yeah, there's the odd one or two people who choose not to do the arrow break, and then they tend to be first across the fire because it's that thing of, I'm going to succeed here tonight one way or the other. So it's a win for everybody. And then occasionally I will come and do an arrow break as like I've organised going to a couple of conferences next year where I'm doing an arrow break at them, and it'll be at the start of the day. So it'll be an amazing energizer for everybody. People will have this huge shared experience that they've all been scared together, and a great conversation starter for people.
It sounds it, absolutely sounds it. And so have you got things on your website that people can look to if they can come to something, or are there things publicly listed?
Yeah, my website, I think it covers all of that stuff, but it certainly covers the firewalk and the glasswalk. And if people are interested, my contact details are on there, and I will take a note to check that actually.
And you're
Yeah,
quite, frequent on LinkedIn anyway. People can always catch you there, can't you?
yeah, yeah.
And you talked there about public speaking and doing some more public speaking on confidence building. Is that correct? Is that something that you're going to grow in your business?
Yeah, I'm hoping to. So I've done a lot of confidence building courses with Fife Council. When I first set up my business, I'd actually worked for Fife Council, and one of my colleagues asked me to design and deliver an 8-week confidence building course. So I still deliver that from time to time. I did one in January, and I've not had time since then to fit them in, but that's over 6 weeks, and it looks at a bit of goal setting and mindfulness and body image. There's a glass walk, there's an arrow break, and I think they look at anger and saying no, because I think a lot of women don't really know how to say no, and anger's got a bad reputation, and actually it's okay to be angry sometimes, but managing that effectively. So it's not really that I've done lots of talking about confidence, but I'm happy to and would love to do more of that.
Right. Okay. So anyone looking for a speaker on that subject should get in touch as well. So you've been in business a good while now. Tell me about, what are the biggest bumps in the road that you found, apart from obviously COVID that we've all had to endure over the last few years? What have you found most difficult in growing your business?
I think I'm at a point just now where I've always been quite happy just sort of ticking along, doing what I'm doing, and I had more than 2 years where I was effectively grounded. I was doing something completely different actually during COVID. I had been asked to deliver some of my stuff online. I didn't want to. I really enjoy working with people like one-to-one. I think you certainly with what I do, you lose something by not being in a room. So I went off and did something completely different. And it just felt like a really big kick up the bum for me that, there's opportunities out there that I haven't even looked at. Like I was saying to you, I've literally just joined LinkedIn at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And I've only ever worked occasionally with businesses, but I've only ever worked in the third sector with charities and the odd piece of work with business. I think actually there's a whole world out there that I haven't tapped into. So I suppose that's the point that I'm at just now.
Okay. So, anyone looking to put on any team days or anything like that, any corporates would be good to get in touch with you to have a chat as well.
Yeah, that would be
So
lovely.
what's the bigger picture then, Lee? Where are you taking it? What's utopia for you in terms of where you want the business to be in the next, say, 5 years?
I would like to probably do more arrow breaks, do more conferences, do more one-off pieces of work, and that gives me a bigger audience, and there's more people who, like, I can engage with more people doing lots of wee pieces of work than delivering 6-week courses and stuff. So I just want to continue in the vein that I am, but to develop new customers and a new customer base, and hopefully start doing more conferences and that type of event, and more team building.
Sounds good. Well, hopefully there'll be a few people watching this that will you'll pique your interest and get in touch. So, just
Yeah.
as we close up, what would your best advice be to people who are in business at the moment or thinking about starting a business?
I think if we're thinking about starting business, it's that thing of not allowing your fear to keep you stuck, and you just start where you are with what you've got, and go out and do whatever it is that you want to do. Obviously do your business planning and your research, and but don't let the thing fear be the thing that stops you from doing the thing that you really want to do. Like we've only got one life, and it's precious, and none of us want to be lying on our deathbeds thinking, do you know what, I had that opportunity and I really wish I'd just taken it. So
Mm,
just go for it.
love it, Lee. Look, thanks for joining us. Your story's wonderful, and hopefully people will be inspired by the things you've done and continue to do. So thanks for joining us on Business Spotlight.
Thank you.